What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NBA Daily Podcast, your home for amazing facts about the NBA. My name's Dawson Shine, and I'm your host. So, first off today, we're going to talk about the Portland Trailblazers cutting the Clippers off short, 98-84. Now, the main story is not about the Trailblazers actually winning. The Clippers' championship hopes have now been cut short. They've been clipped off, you might say. Chris Paul broke his right hand in the third quarter, his third metacarpal, going for a steal on a Gerald Henderson drive. The diagnosis is pretty grim, and initial reports predict that he won't be able to play again for the rest of the season unless they make a very deep playoff run, almost to the finals probably. For the fifth straight year as a Los Angeles Clipper, Chris Paul has been injured in the playoffs in one way or another. Everyone remembers probably last year the amazing Game 7 against the Spurs with him hobbling on one leg because of a hamstring injury. He helped carry the team then, and he hit the game winner of that series. But he also shows that he consistently gets injured in the playoffs. He constantly gives 110% in the playoffs, but he still has no Western Conference Finals and another injury. And whether this is a fluke or just a consistent problem with him because he might be injury prone is beside the point. He's out again, and the Clippers cannot win a championship without Chris Paul. Now, obviously this is going to hurt their chances even next round, which they were originally looking like they might be able to beat the Trailblazers and play the Stephless Warriors, which might have given them a good shot at the Western Conference Finals. But instead, they're now tied 2-2 with the Trailblazers without Chris Paul, and that's going to be difficult to match. They have to win this series first if they even hope to face the Warriors next round, and they might not be able to pull it off because the injuries didn't stop with Chris Paul. Unfortunately for the Clippers, Blake Griffin also injured himself. He actually re-injured his right quad, which is actually what hurt him earlier in the season when he first went out with injury, before he broke his hand punching a Clippers trainer. Now, he might be 50-50 for Game 5. Without him, they stand absolutely no chance of beating the Trailblazers in LA. Now, that's mainly because without Blake Griffin and without Chris Paul, they have almost no real offense and no offensive playmakers, really. It's not like DeAndre Jordan's going to start passing out of the post. That's never going to happen. And JJ Redick can't really handle the ball. What are they going to do, have Austin Rivers starting and hope to carry them to another playoff win? Good luck with that. Oh, and by the way, JJ Redick says he'll be playing injured for the rest of the playoffs because he now has a heel injury. So they lost 3 of their 4 best players to injuries. Now, JJ Redick will be playing, but he'll be playing injured. And a shooter without a heel, that's got to hurt. That's going to make it very difficult to make shots and take shots. So obviously, despite the Trailblazers putting up a great effort in winning this game at home when they really needed to, it's kind of tarnished due to the injuries and the entire Clippers' chances of the championship getting shut out in one game. But focusing back on the game, I want to talk about the Trailblazers having another great offensive game. Mason Plumlee being the real story of this series. Al-Farouq Aminu last night had 30 and 10, despite subpar CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard games. And those are great numbers from Al-Farouq Aminu, playoff career highs. But Mason Plumlee is definitely the focus of their offense right now. He is running it like Magic Johnson. Now, obviously not like that, but he's running it like the old Kings center, Arvydas Sabonis. He's running from the top of the post, and he's passing it out, and he's averaging 8 points, 15 rebounds. Now, those are reasonable for a center. 9 assists a game. Last night, he had the first 10 rebounds and 10 assists game of the entire playoffs. Not even Westbrook or any player like that had that. DeAndre Jordan, unfortunately, cannot come out and guard him properly on top of the key. So Mason Plumlee is basically just feasting, using his great court vision to find open cutters and open shooters. And then when DeAndre Jordan does come out and try to guard him there, Plumlee feeds the guards and allows them to drive to the hoop without any shot blocker in the paint because DeAndre Jordan is now out at the top of the three-point line. It's a great offensive system right now, and it's working very, very well, and helped tie the series 2-2, going back to LA without CP3 and an injured Blake Griffin at best. So the Clippers have a really serious problem on their hands, and may face actually elimination in the first round again. So for Clippers fans, it's going to be a very tough rest of the series. They were looking forward to actually facing the Warriors without Steph Curry if they could just close this series out. And it looked like they might do it early in the game when it was still tied and pretty close even into the fourth quarter. But after losing CP3 and Blake Griffin in the third quarter, they were done. And honestly, they might not have the physical strength and the mental strength to keep in the series without the abilities of their 2 best players. So it's going to be good luck to Clippers right now, and hopefully they can drag this game out for as long as possible and drag the series out so that maybe Blake Griffin can at least be healthy by the end of it and they can try and make it to the next round. But they weren't the only game last night to tie a series 2-2. the Hornets stung the Heat 89-85 to tie the series up going back to Miami. Cardiac Kemba had 34 points, which is his playoff career high, and also the highest points total for any guard in Hornets history. So that's pretty incredible. And also, Jeremy Lin off the bench had 21 points, great drives and kicks, great play overall with 3 assists too. And the reason for this great scoring by both of these guards is because of the pick and roll. They did a high pick and roll and a high screen and roll consistently throughout the game, and it was destroying Miami. Miami struggled the entire game stopping the pick and roll, and Kemba and Lin were getting to the paint with ease. And you can't allow that with 2 guards that are great at finishing through contact and taking the pull-up J too. Because even when they couldn't get all the way to the paint, they'd blow by the defender and just take a little mid-range jumper. Also, with great driving from guards, it's very easy to get a free throw disparity in the game because they're constantly getting fouled going to the hoop. And this driving and pick and roll from Jeremy Lin and Kemba Walker led to a huge disparity in free throws, 30-21, with Lin and Kemba combining for 14 of 16 from the stripe, which is actually the same makes as the entire Heat team had. So, it was very difficult for the Heat to overcome this, and even though they did try to come back in the fourth quarter, they struggled overall throughout the game with their offense for the second straight game. Although their offense from the starters actually was better than the last game, their bench scoring was absolutely putrid. Heat's rookies struggled with Josh Richardson going 1 for 7 and Justice Winslow going 3 for 8. The starters were alright, as I said, except for Deng's poor shooting night, which was 4 for 14, and Hassan not being able to play much due to foul trouble. He did put up some decent numbers, but not exceptional and not like he's been doing all series because he could only play for about 27 minutes this game. Charlotte's starters on the other side actually shot under 50%, and without Kemba Walker, shot a combined 8 for 30, 27% from the field. But it didn't matter because of how good Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lin did under Coach Clifford's pick and roll scheme. It just destroyed the Heat defense until the last minute of the game. The last minute of the game is where the Heat actually tried to make a little bit of a comeback. And they almost did, because finally Spoelstra and the Heat made adjustments in playing the pick and roll by hedging up top and having Heat defenders in the paint help up against the drive, which did prevent shots from the mid-range going in, but they failed to box out and allowed Courtney Lee to get 2 huge offensive rebounds in a row in the last minute to help seal the win and take the free throws to clinch the game. But it's been a great series overall, and it's heading back to Miami with a real big excitement in the Charlotte City because that team is buzzing. They haven't seen playoff victories in 14 years, and all of a sudden they've got 2 in a row, and they have a chance to actually win a series, and that's pretty incredible. But it's interesting because all the 3-6 seeded teams in the Eastern Conference that were tied 48-34 at the end of the season are now all at 2 wins apiece with not 1 loss at home. That's pretty interesting because they were very evenly matched during the regular season, and now all of a sudden in the playoffs, it shows because not one team has an edge yet. But it's going to come down to these 2 great Game 5s, one between the Heat and the Hornets in a couple of nights, and the Atlanta Hawks versus the Boston Celtics tonight. So, it's going to be great to watch. Now, there's not every series getting tied in the NBA, of course. Another series last night that got closed out was Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Dallas Mavericks. OKC won last night in a huge victory, 118-104, to close the series out 4-1. Westbrook had a massive night. A day after Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, came out saying that Russell Westbrook was an all-star, not a superstar. He came out and actually tried to make him reconsider that thought. He had 36 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists in a monster game. Just tore apart the Dallas defense. All after Mark Cuban decided to open his mouth and act like Russell Westbrook wasn't a star in the NBA. It's not smart to piss off Westbrook, and even player Dirk Nowitzki and coach Rick Carlisle from the Mavericks decided that it was not a smart idea to continue to piss him off, by even saying in the post-game interviews how great he was and how much he is a superstar in the NBA. But of course, after the game is where the interviews got really entertaining with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. They were seated together, obviously, and one of the reporters asked Russell Westbrook whether or not he was actually angry about Cuban's comments or what his thoughts were about them. Durant actually answered for him, saying, "Cuban is an idiot. He's an idiot. Don't listen to him. He's an idiot." That's what we've got to say about that. He's an idiot. Next question. So obviously you can tell Durant was fired up by his quotes, even more so than Russell Westbrook was maybe. And Durant was protecting his teammate, which is really great to see considering all these rumors about how they're not meshing well or how Durant wants to leave after this season. But he showed last night that he cares about his teammates as a friend at least and tried to protect him. And interestingly enough, that wasn't even the best soundbite from the interview after the game. The next question following the Mark Cuban question was actually a reporter asking about whether Charlie Villanueva, a player for the Dallas Mavericks, had messed with Westbrook after or before the game because he'd been messing with him all series, first by interrupting his dance routine at the beginning of the game with Cameron Payne before Game 2, but also he was beefing over him over Twitter, which was pretty stupid to be honest because Charlie Villanueva should not be talking trash. He's awful. And let's just say Westbrook went right at him because Westbrook answered this. Now he gets to go home, do whatever he needs to do to get ready for next year, to sit down and watch 82 more games like he did this year. And not only did Westbrook completely crush him, and basically just completely kill him and his career, but Durant at the end of the video, in the end of the interview, actually mumbled under his breath he might not even be in the league. So, honestly, rest in peace, Charlie Villanueva. You lived till 2016. Good life. Because both of these amazing superstars in the NBA just crushed him. Honestly, he shouldn't have been throwing stones in a glass house because he's not good enough or even worthy of playing minutes. So I don't know why he's trying to come at the superstars of the Oklahoma City Thunder. It wasn't a very good move, and it didn't work out, and that's for sure. So Mavericks get to go home, Villanueva gets to go watch the rest of the playoffs from his couch, and Westbrook and Durant continue their rampage through the playoffs, facing the San Antonio Spurs next round, which is the next thing I want to talk about, and that's the predictions for the next round. Because obviously we do have one matchup already set, and that's the San Antonio Spurs versus the OKC Thunder, with the Spurs having the home court advantage. So they'll be playing in San Antonio, Game 1. Now I want to ask everyone listening to see what their opinions are about this series. I feel like San Antonio is going to have a very difficult time handling the Thunder. My prediction is actually that the Spurs get upset in 7 games, with Westbrook going off against them. Westbrook is going to be able to attack both of their point guards, which is Tony Parker, who really can't defend anymore, and Westbrook knows this and attacks him every time they play. But also, he's going to be able to attack their bench players like Patty Mills, players like that who really can't guard the strong, rebounding, tough, fast guard that Westbrook is. It's going to be impossible for them to keep in front of him. Even if they stick Danny Green on him, Danny Green is just not quick enough or explosive enough to take on Westbrook. Westbrook's one of the most explosive point guards in the NBA. And on the opposite side, Westbrook can lock in and defend very well as long as he doesn't gamble too much. And so I think he'll be able to do so against Tony Parker, especially when Tony Parker's aging like he is. And also Durant. Durant is a monster. He will be matched up against Kawhi Leonard, the Defensive Player of the Year 2 times in a row. But Durant's one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history. And I feel like he's going to be able to score against Kawhi Leonard like no one else can. The Thunder are really the Spurs' weakness. Their duo of amazing offensive players, Durant and Westbrook, really hurt the weaknesses of the San Antonio Spurs and their strength, Kawhi Leonard. Because Durant is so good, he can actually nullify Kawhi's defense. And finally, the key to the series will be Enes Kanter. Can he score against David West and LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan? If he can score in the paint with those shot blockers and those bigs, then the Spurs are going to be dominated. Because Enes Kanter is an amazing scorer. If he can get going, he can put up 20 points a game against this team. Obviously, he did have a right knee contusion last night, so he may be iffy for the first game or two to get rust off, but I feel like with the rest that he's going to get up to the upcoming series, he'll be fine, he'll be ready to go, and the Thunder will win in 7 games. And I think they're going to take Game 1 as well. So it's going to be a huge series, but I want to hear your thoughts. So let me know what you guys think. Will the 2 Thunder superstars, Durant and Westbrook, be able to take on the San Antonio Spurs' efficient offense and incredible team defense? Let me know what you guys think. Finally today, I want to just talk about what's a must-see game tonight, and that's got to be the Hawks versus the Celtics. There is the Toronto Raptors-Indiana Pacers game, but I think it's going to be a pretty okay game. All the other games in the series have been close, but really have been pretty bad to watch overall. The Celtics-Hawks games, on the other hand, have been amazing to watch, especially the last 2 in Boston. Both teams are coming out pretty hot and fired up. Millsap obviously had 45 the other night, so we're going to hope to see if he can put up another similar night tonight. Also, Isaiah Thomas had 42 in Game 3. Maybe he can try and replicate that. It's going to be great to watch the offenses go at each other and the defenses try to stop these offenses. It's just a great, evenly matched series, so that Game 5 is definitely my must-watch for tonight. So thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Answer my question of the day in the comments section or leave feedback. And have a great day.